January's book for book club is Quicksilver by Callie Hart.
Yes.
If anybody is interested in joining a book club, or if you've already read Quicksilver and you want to throw in your comments, concerns, questions, not like we're going to answer them.
Concerns is funny.
So we started it on Fable and Goodreads as well.
Mm-hmm. And if you happen to just miss Quicksilver, we're doing this for every month. So we will be posting what our book of the month is going to be at the beginning of the month. And we will not post the episode until the last Thursday of every month.
Yeah.
So you will hear both of our commentary on what we think about the book on both Fable and Goodreads. So if you, like you said, if you want to add anything to it, I just feel like it would be nice to have an open conversation, have more to talk about in the episodes. Because like you have said before, we yap a lot. So if we have like things to yap about, gold.
Like if other people have like funny things to say about certain lines in the book, I think it would be funny for us to talk about and whether or not we agree.
Yes, I love that. So please check out our Fable and our Goodreads. You can access them if you go through our link tree. It's linktr.ee/thebookfix. Thank you.
Thank you. Last year, we read One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. Do you think that was a contender for Book of the Year?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I didn't think I was gonna like it. It's not that it wasn't. I judged the book by its cover. I did that.
I'm sorry, I did the sin.
I looked at it and I was just like, it's not gonna spark joy.
That is so funny because I had the exact opposite. Like the cover, I was like, this might rock my world.
And I'm pretty sure because we have this ongoing list where we both keep track of what we're reading. And I remember that was on there for a while and I kept mentioning like, do you still want to do this one?
And I was like, yes, please. And then also I think at Barnes and Noble they released this like special edition of it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I could have sworn I told you this is the book I've been wanting to read, and you were like,
sure you did.
And you were like, oh. Anyway.
And here I was judging the cover. Yeah, I do remember you really, really wanting to read it. And I was like, I'm not going to enjoy it. So I went in with low expectations and I came out sobbing.
I think that's the best way to do it, though. Like, you have to have really low expectations for it to change your life. So let's recap the first book. Elspeth is our main character. And in the beginning of the story, she is a young girl. And, well, first let me talk about the world. So there's a god known as the Spirit of the Wood. And people would go to the Spirit of the Wood and then they would be blessed by the spirit and so on. But then the Shepherd King was like, hey, what if like people can't make the journey, you know? So I believe that the Shepherd King bargained with the Spirit of the Wood or made a proposal she couldn't refuse. And so now her power has been split into cards. Not like playing cards, but I think there's 12 different cards in total, or 11. And the Shepherd King had to give parts of himself away in order for these cards to manifest.
Yes.
And so going back to our main character, Elspeth, she gets sick. And the sickness happens because I think the Spirit of the Wood got a little bit salty, a little sad that people stopped visiting. And so there's a mist that comes out of the wood that kind of, I think it was meant to draw them in, but it really just gets them sick. And when you're sick, you can develop an ability. And the ability is different every time.
But it's funny because if I remember correctly, having an ability was kind of frowned upon.
Yes, because there's a prophecy that something about the Ronin King. I think a Ronin King is supposed to bring down the Spirit of the Wood. And so the
Rowan King, right?
Rowan, yes. Okay. Thank you. So then the Rowan King was like, anytime somebody would have an ability, they would want to off them because they were afraid of what type of ability it would be. And I don't think the Rowan King really wanted something they couldn't control. So then it would just be like, ugh, okay, off them, whatever. And so Elspeth gets sick. Yeah. Do you remember her ability?
Her ability was to be able to take in cards, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's explained later, but if she were to take in a card, she gets a little bit of that ability or that quality. Mm-hmm. And she only ever did it once. Mm-hmm. And she took in the Nightmare card, which I think is the second card.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most rare cards. And because of that, she now has this nightmare that lives inside of her and tells her things.
Rent free.
And she refuses to tell anyone that happened because she doesn't want anyone to know that she has an ability, that she got sick or anything, because then they can, I think they kill them or they take them away.
Yeah, so they'll get killed.
So she lives with this, but it's kind of like a ticking time bomb because there's this common like theme in this story where, damn, I forget how it is. Magic has a cost. Mm-hmm. So the more you use it, or the longer you have it, you're going through something called degeneration. Mm-hmm. So we don't know what her degeneration is, but she's like, everyone else is having it. Yeah. I feel like I'm having it.
And in the first book, I feel like it's very gradual, but I think maybe like halfway through, we kind of start to figure out like what it is.
Yeah.
It's the more that she asks the nightmare for help, it starts to overtake her body.
Yes. And to speed through this, because you should really listen to our first talk about the first book or read the book. Actually, do both. But
in that order.
In the ending of this book, we see Elspeth completely lose herself. Mm-hmm. And it sucks because the love interest of this book, whose name is Ravyn, he is a prince related to the Rowan King. And, right?
No. It's Elm. How's it? Elm is the prince.
Is he a cousin? Is Ravyn just like connected?
I think he's like a cousin or something. He's not in the line.
Okay. But he is a prince. And he does work for like the guards and stuff. Whatever. He's up there.
He's the captain of the Destriers.
Yes.
Which is the soldiers.
So the thing about Ravyn is his whole thing is he wants to collect all the cards because his brother Emery is suffering like the late stages of the degeneration. Mm-hmm. And the prophecy is if you collect all the cards, you can make one wish. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to do that. But then he also kind of falls for Elspeth, who's supposed to help him. And she loses it at the end. She kills like someone really important. No, and then
she badly injures them.
No, wasn't it two people? It was someone.
Oh, you're thinking of the other guy. Okay.
Yeah, the other guy.
Oh, okay.
But he was important because he was going to be like the sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then she really hurts the Rowan King.
Yeah.
And Ravyn's just like, what are you doing? And realizes that that's not her. Mm-hmm. He's like, that's not my girl.
Yeah, because her eyes are yellow now.
Fade to Black. Fucking Blink-182 plays. I don't know. And that's the end of the book.
No, the end of the book was like, I know where the last card is. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yeah, because she, who is not her.
The nightmare.
Very philosophical. But yeah, the nightmare who is now taken over her is like, oh, yeah, you want to look for the last card? I know where it is because I'm the one who hit it.
The Shepherd King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh, dude, that book was so good.
And I absolutely love the romance. Ravyn was top tier. I absolutely loved him so much. So, Cheli, do you think discussing the ending to One Dark Window, the second part, Two Twisted Crowns, do you think that can fix your life?
Yes, I think it can.
Okay, good. Welcome to another episode of the Book Fix Podcast, a podcast where we fix lives one book at a time. I'm your host, Yajaira.
And I'm your host, Cheli. Today we're talking about Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. Mm-hmm. And let me look at this cover. Let me see if I judged this one when I saw it.
You probably did.
I probably did.
It's very similar to the first one.
You know, I vibe with it.
I love it. So it's giving dark fairy tale. And I love that so much. Mm-hmm.
I was under the impression going into this book that Elspeth coming back was going to be 90% of the story.
I really thought that the journey was going to be like Ravyn trying to get her back. But also, dude, I told you, I called it from the first one. I knew that Ravyn was going to be like, wait, was I talking to her or was I flirting with you? The nightmare.
Dude, it's so funny because if you watched our first episode, you had brought up like, isn't it kind of weird that anytime Ravyn and Elspeth are flirting, the nightmare doesn't say anything?
Yeah, because the nightmare speaks a lot, never shuts up.
I made a joke that it's because the nightmare was like, whoa, who is this? So then when Ravyn brings up, was like, was I flirting with you? I was like, fucking, the nightmare's like, I mean, I wouldn't put it like, but it's funny because the nightmare was like, anytime you would come with your flirty shit, I had to turn around.
I had to go hide because I was over this shit.
I had to hide in the corner of her mind. I couldn't handle that shit. But it's so sad because like Ravyn, which I appreciate, I 1000% appreciate this. Even if the nightmare looked like her, Ravyn knew it wasn't her.
Yeah.
So I like that he didn't
have longing.
Yes. I don't know how much that would have icked me.
I get it though. I mean, it's her, but it's not her.
No, that's the same as Beneath These Cursed Stars.
Yes, go
God,
listen to that episode. Don't talk about that. But
okay,
yes, go listen to that episode.
I'm glad that didn't happen. Because can you imagine fucking Elspeth sitting in the corner like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Well, Elspeth in the beginning is actually not really conscious of what's happening. To her, she's just like lost in darkness. Yeah. And she doesn't remember anything. And she doesn't remember her own name either.
It's so sad too because I think it's gradual, her being able to like have the passenger seat of her own mind. But even when she starts to slowly see things outside, she doesn't recognize anyone either.
No, but I thought it was so beautiful when she slowly started to remember Ravyn. When she was like, wait, he's very important to me. Wonder why.
And then I thought it was really funny that in the outside world, the nightmare's over here like, because, you know, the nightmare's on a mission. The Shepherd King's like, I'm going to find these cards and we're going to get all this shit sorted out. But he's not, like, taking care of Elspeth. So she's, like, not showered. She's wearing, like, rags.
I know.
it's like, and that part where fucking Ravyn was like, did you cut her hair? Like, yeah, it was in the way. I just imagined it to look choppy.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, my God.
Very, like, Snow White vibes. Like here.
Yeah, but the other one is like, I like this side actually.
One side is longer than the other.
Yeah.
So then this book is split up between two different groups.
Yeah.
It's Ravyn, Nightmare / Elspeth, and the Ravyn's sister Jasper. Yes. And then somebody else joins. I don't remember their name though.
I don't either.
So there's some other person. And then the other group is Elm and Ione. And their task is to collect all of the cards.
Yes. Elm originally wanted to go with Ravyn, but Ravyn was like, we're going to need you to hold down the fort just in case shit goes crazy. But trust me, we'll be back in like 2 days. Okay?
A week, maybe. Tops.
I know. Bitches, they were gone the whole fucking... Maybe the last 10 pages they were back. But they were gone for months, I think.
They were separated the whole time.
Yeah.
Which I thought was so sad.
If you remember Ione, she is Elspeth's cousin.
Yes.
And she, in the first book, before everything, was known as very carefree, loved the world, loved to laugh. But because she wanted to marry rich and marry a prince, given that opportunity.
I think it was her dad that wanted it.
Yeah. Given that opportunity, they did like a swap. So Ione
gave them the Nightmare card.
Yes.
And so King Hoth proposed to her. But I think they gave her the Maiden card, which basically gives you beauty. Yep. And then later on, we find out it heals you. But it was like a big secret.
But it's really sad because the Maiden card, it's like beauty, but you also don't feel anything. So she just didn't have her emotions. She was a very logical person.
Very cold, but I thought it was so beautiful. Those like little moments when she was getting closer to Elm, where even though she looked cold, her cheeks were like slightly pink. It was like because he would flirt with her, and she would be like, whatever, but then she would be blushing.
I fucking love that shit, dude. I did not think I was gonna care at all about their love story.
Oh my God, I did.
I'll be honest. I was just kind of like, I'm not here for them. I'm here for Ravyn and I'm here for Elspeth. That's all I want. And I think what really got me, it was pretty early on, but it was when, oh my God,
when they got ambushed.
Happened? I think she got hurt. And then that she explained the whole, well, when I get hurt, I just get better. Like, for example, Rowan, I think pushed her out a window.
You mean Hoth?
Is it?
It was Hoth.
Is that his name? I thought it was Rowan.
That's his last name.
Oh, okay. Well, Hoth pushed her out a window, expecting that to be the end. And
he shoved her off a cliff.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a cliff because she thought, she was just laying there to die. Mm-hmm. But I think they were married at this point. Wait, did they ever get married? No, they didn't get married. No,
they were about to.
They were about to get married. And she laid there expecting to die, but the maiden card healed her.
Yeah.
And it's so sad because she's explaining this very like coldly.
Yeah.
And fucking Elm is just like, "Are you okay?" And she's just like, "Yeah,
just a little scratch.
I mean, I made it, so."
That's so fucking sad, and he cared so fucking much.
I can't imagine not being able to be so emotional, you know?
Dude. Oh.
Just being like,
I cry all the time.
Me too, girl.
Out. Dude, it's so weird. The mating card doesn't work on her. Such strong emotions.
She just feels too much. Oh, God.
How did you feel? I just want to speed through this book. I recommend go read it. I just really
so much happens in the book.
How did you feel when, Ravyn and Elspeth and the Nightmare, they're going through their thing, and Jesper. But then all of a sudden, Hoth wakes up. He wakes up.
Dude, I was panicking because I think before he woke up, I forgot his name, the dad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember his name. Hoth and Elm's dad was like, Elm, that means you have to be king now. So you need to go find your next bride or whatever. But then Hoth wakes up and he's very critically injured still.
But it sucks though, because right before he wakes up, he's telling Ione, like, what if you were queen? You get everything you want. And you also kind of get me, but it's whatever. That's like a second thing.
Yeah.
And it's super like a disarming moment, I guess. And I think by this point, she also turned off her maiden card. So you get to see what she is like.
But before she did, don't you remember that they had that whole back and forth of, no, if it wasn't for the maiden card, you would have never even noticed me. And he was like, I actually did notice you before the maiden card. And he brought up a moment where he just like saw her riding a horse and laughing and being carefree and everything. And she was really touched that he even noticed her.
But it sucks too, because when she turned off her maiden card, every single emotion of the things that have happened to her hit her at once. Mm-hmm. So for a second, she was just like, I don't even want to be around you. Like, give me a moment. So then when that whole idea of marriage is brought up, and she's just kind of like, oh my gosh, that's when someone walks in and is like, Hoth is awake. He's alive. And it's like,
it's like,
are you sure?
Give me the maiden card. I need to not feel anything while I go.
So she goes in with the maiden card like on. And although Hoth can't really speak, he notices that she's healed from the cliff injury. And he makes the connection like, oh my God, the maiden card heals.
Yeah. So
he later uses it on himself to come back. And now he's ready to be king.
To be a freaking menace. This man was a menace.
Dude, what the fuck? This man had no heart. I fucking can't. And like the thing is like, I'm fucking Elm. You can hurt me. You can hurt my bitches, but don't hurt Ione.
I know. He was very...
Oh my God.
He was very protective over her.
Yeah, me too. Oh my gosh. There was like a point too where Ione, I don't know where she goes, but she goes away. And I think
he stays behind.
Elm
stays behind because I think
right.
I think he's injured, and he tells her, go find Ravyn.
And it sucks.
I'll make it, girl. I'll make it.
Because he uses the scythe card on her in order to like have her do his bidding. And he says to her, you're going to get on your horse and you're going to ride that way. And you're not going to stop until I tell you to stop. And she goes, and until he turns off the scythe, she's already like 2 days
miles
away.
And miles away.
Oh my God.
But she does find Ravyn and the nightmare.
Yes. So it just, my God. I feel like you need to go read this one because it's just so much shit going on. One thing I really appreciate about this book is I feel like sometimes when there's several characters in a book, I feel like sometimes authors don't change personalities that much.
Yeah,
You know
I get where you're going with this. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I felt like this book, I fucking knew everyone. I felt like I was there. And I
knew everybody there.
On. Yeah, they were all my compas. So, like, my buddies.
Yeah, my bros.
So I really felt for, first of all, for Elm, when Ione had ran and he stayed behind and he was imprisoned with Ione's dad and with his family, I think.
I think it was Elspeth's dad.
Oh, you're right. I really felt that shit because it was very much like you already felt defeated. You've been waiting for Ravyn for like a whole book. Yeah. And it's like, okay, I guess this is kind of it. But he like kept on surviving for like the hope that he would eventually come. And I think it wasn't until the day that they could turn these cards into one wish was the day Ravyn came back.
Yeah, because it was very calculated the way that they attacked, because they knew that Hoth was waiting for them, and I think they were using Elm too as like leverage. Like they were like, if you want him back, you're gonna come over here and give me the cards. And I really liked this final scene. I thought it was beautiful. Like I wish I can't wait for the moment that it's a movie, because I know it'll be beautiful.
It's gonna be beautiful.
So
I get it.
Let's just speed through it a little bit, because
I feel like we have been.
But like the last part I felt like was a little long. Like I feel like it could have been a little shorter in my opinion, but because so much happens. Oh my God. How did you feel when it wasn't even Ravyn that saved the day? I was shocked personally. I honestly thought Ravyn was the one that was gonna kill Hoth.
Nah, dude, bitch was fucking knocking on heaven's door.
No, he almost died.
Yeah, he did.
Or he did die, I think.
No, he almost did, and I thought it was like low-key funny, because if I remember correctly, he's just kind of on the floor, and you can hear like the shit going around, and he's like, this is it.
I guess I failed. Damn.
This is how I go.
And Hoth, I think Hoth had certain cards on him that the other group needed in order to complete the deck. And so he was using like I think it's the Black Horse, the one that makes you stronger and makes you better at combat. And he was using the Maiden card as well, so that even when he would get injured, he would just heal.
Oh, dude.
And so when they were fighting and Ravyn freaking falls to the ground, it was like, oh, it's the nightmare that's gonna try to kill him. But he was like very strong at this point. Yeah. Where it was kind of like, oh, this is like
just like Goku,
the main boss. I don't remember if it was before he was super strong, during, but do you remember in the first book when it was like a big deal to have like a charm on you? Well, it was a big deal in this one too, but we haven't explained it. So when you would go into the mist in the forest, people would have charms on them to protect them from becoming sick. Yep. Right? And so Hoth had a charm on him, and then they took off the charm from him. I don't remember if it was Elm. It must have been Elm. He took it off from him, and now the mist went into him, and it was like, oh now he's infected, which means that he could be used as the sacrifice at the end. Because he was making it seem like, oh, it has to be your little brother Emery.
Nah, bitch, it's you. It's you. Wait, who kills him? Who's the final one that kills him? Is it the nightmare?
Yeah, I think it's the nightmare.
It's kind of like a big end to his circle, because his entire life had been to end the Rowan King. And it really sucks because he lost everything he loved because of this.
Also, oh my God, please, if you're listening to this, go read this book. I loved the parts where it talked about his life. Yeah. Those parts were so beautiful. Like the way that he was betrayed.
And I think it's so funny too. Don't cry. I think
so good.
It's
Rachel,
so...
how dare you?
Dude, is this your... Oh my God. I already feel the 5 out of 5 coming out of you. Okay. I really liked that even though the nightmare... He was kind of snarky with Ravyn, but he never was that to Jasper,
yeah.
because Jasper looked just like his kid, right?
Wasn't it his sister? His sister.
Who he couldn't save.
Yeah, he couldn't save the sister. Which, that part was beautiful, too, because it was paralleling what he went through with his sister. Ravyn was going through that, too, with Jasper.
Yeah.
But that was not the end. But.
No, of course not. But I just really liked that. So after Hoth is gone, Raven's gone for a bit too, because his healing process takes a while, right?
Because they can't. It's not like they can use the maiden card on him. No. So he was healing very slowly. And I thought it was beautiful that his parents were there. Why were his parents there?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Just visiting.
No,
I just happened to visit.
Maybe Hoth was using his parents as leverage too. I don't remember exactly.
But when he woke up, Emery's degeneration was gone, and it was just kind of like, oh my God, all this shit's happening. By the way, Elm's king now. Yeah. Or becoming king.
And he's getting married.
And to Ione, and there's all this shit going on. And then Elspeth comes in.
But it's still the nightmare.
But it's, yeah.
And I love this moment, too, because it was like the nightmare saying goodbye, basically. And the nightmare basically tells, or goes on this whole, like, speech of how he was the father that Elspeth needed. And so they both had, like, this relationship of, like, father-daughter. You know, I mean, he's been in her mind since she was 9, so...
So, the nightmare says goodbye to Ravyn, which, by the way, that wasn't his name. He was related to the nightmare, right? Was that?
Oh, yeah. Was he?
He was, like, a descendant of the nightmare. So,
he was a descendant of...
Starts with a T.
He was the only family member that survived from the Shepherd King.
Yes.
So that was what Ravyn was.
Yes.
Okay.
Not the direct descendant, but like connected to. But that's why they had like this weird attachment to each other.
He's like,
it's so funny. Okay, bye, see you. And it's just like, oh, no, it's like,
no, please let me go. Let me go. It's
fine. I'm leaving.
Also, don't you just love how the Shepherd King tells him, oh, you know, you could have destroyed me a long time ago. All you had to do was tear the card apart. And Ravyn was like, why didn't you tell me? And he's like, well, because I needed to get the whole deck together. Oh, and also, God. I'm gonna miss my girl.
Yeah. But who I'm gonna miss the most is, he's like, you. Oh God. It's really sad though, because one of the final scenes after the nightmare says like, later Ravyn, disappears, he goes into a room by himself to have his final goodbye with Elspeth.
Yeah. I don't remember it. I must have blacked it out. What?
Oh yeah. I think because it doesn't show much. It just shows like the nightmare kind of
patting her on the head, like, miss you, girl.
But it's funny because if, like, out of context, a worker's walking by. It's just Elspeth in a room by herself, and she's like, hug yourself.
Love you, girl.
Shh, don't cry. But the story ends with that they can now heal degeneration. And Elle makes a huge like message to everyone, like, if you want to be healed, if you end up getting, you know, you have remnants of the mist with you, come to us and we will help you. I think the only one who chooses not to do it is Ravyn.
Yeah,
he keeps his.
He's like, it's a part of me.
Yeah, it's who I am. The end. Dude.
Well, do you remember the reunion?
What reunion?
His and Elspeth's?
No, I don't.
I don't either. Why is it that I blacked out at the end? I was just feeling too much, I guess.
They should have gave me 40 more chapters of Ione and fucking Elm's honeymoon. I just wanted to see them be happy together.
You know what? Why I think we're forgetting it is because it kind of just, the last chapter ends with the king and her saying goodbye, which I love their whole line, which is the girl and the king and the monster they became. And that was the last chapter, but then it's the epilogue
I don't remember.
And I think it's just like
happiness.
Ravyn and Elm talking. So it's not really like, what the fuck was my reunion?
Well, like you said.
Oh, I think it's just Elspeth kind of seeing like the wedding or seeing like how the kingdom is now with Ione and Elm, and her just being like, yeah, they've changed, but I've changed too. And it's just like,
can I say something? We didn't bring it up. It wasn't a big reunion, but I remember it being heartfelt because she even thinks about Ravyn as her significant other, which is huge because she never considered herself someone to be able to have that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the first book, there was this one situation where they were using a scythe card, the one that makes you say the truth. I don't remember if it's that card.
No, so the scythe one is the one where you can make someone do whatever you want. The chalice.
You're right.
The chalice is the one where you have to say the truth or else it hurts you.
In the first book, Hoth asked her if you're falling in love, and she had to reply yes because she didn't want to get hurt.
Maybe.
I don't know, maybe. She's like coughing up blood. No, but she says yes, and Ravyn is kind of like, oh, I'll unpack that later. You know?
With who?
But like before the last fight in the second book, he tells the nightmare, like, can you put Elspeth on speaker? Can you put her on speaker, please? And, you know, she comes forward and it's her again. And no, actually, they're just talking in their minds. Mm-hmm. And he just tells her, like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I hope you know that I love you. And I just wanted to make sure I said it. Okay, peace. End call. Mute. Do not disturb. And she's like, what the fuck? But I thought that was really cute.
Yeah.
That even after so much time had passed, they still like loved each other.
Well, imagine if like she comes back and he has another girl. Like, that'd be so sad. Another lover? My Ravyn, he wouldn't do that.
It's funny. It's just the epilogue. It's both of them having like a really romantic date, and he's like, it's like, what's wrong? I still think about it.
I still think about the nightmare.
Those beautiful brown eyes. That's me.
Yellow.
I know. It's just describing her. No, you don't have the same yellow he had.
Yeah.
I got you a present. It's like yellow contacts. Can you put them on, please?
Can you please put them on because I miss him?
The end. 5 out of 5. God tier book. I feel like I need to read this book again though, because I feel like it's been a minute since I've sat with it, held space with it.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, really good book. It's also a 5 out of 5 for you. I feel it.
Yeah, it is. Obviously. When I finished it, I was literally like in mourning. I was like, I can't believe this shit is over.
What a strong duology.
I know.
I feel like I haven't felt this connected to a duology since like these Hollow Vows. Mm-hmm. Like that to me felt like a solid duology, and so did this one.
Mm-hmm. It was beautiful.
If it became a movie, slay. I feel like there needs to be more book movies like this. I feel like they focus so much on like the romance books, which is fine, but this has romance too, and it slays.
You mean you want more of like fantasy?
Yeah.
It would be so good.
It would be so good.
Please, somebody out there.
Mm-hmm. I want to be cast as just like
a tree in the background.
I'm the only tree that's not a tree. Like you can really see my face.
I'm the only tree that's crying.
Tree 1, can you please stop crying? I can't. They love each other.
I just love them so much. Wow. This was such a amazing duology.
It was.
And the writing is so beautiful.
I know. I really do. I could see us reading anything else from this author. Mm-hmm. Have they written anything else?
I don't know. Let me check. But yes, 5 out of 5 duology.
To anyone listening to us in audio form, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or anywhere you get your podcasts on, thank you so much. If you can leave a rating of 5 stars and a review recommending us our next read, that would be amazing. Happy 2025. I feel like we're ending the month strong.
Yeah.
And we're still going to keep ending it strong. Oh my God, I can't wait for our next episode. If you want to support us and you have a little bit of extra money, what can they do?
So we do have a Patreon, and at the moment it really just serves as a way for our listeners to let us know that you really enjoy our content. You can find us on patreon.com/bookfix. But if you don't want the commitment of monthly, then you can find us on buymeacoffee.com/thebookfix or coffee, which is ko-fi.com/thebookfix.
If you want to support us, if you're watching us on YouTube and you want to support us, if you can please like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because we post every Tuesday and Thursday. I do recommend, if you watch this whole episode and you didn't hear our talk about book 1, please go watch it. One Dark Window. That book fucking slaps. There is a dark window in it too. It took me like 80% to realize there was a dark window.
The whole time you were wondering, why is it called One Dark Window?
I know. Who would have thought it was in it? Also, if you want to hear about another duology, I do recommend our episode where we talked about both books in these Hollow Vows. Right? We talked about it together.
Yeah, in one video.
We're just like that. Innovative. If you want to support us on social media, we do have a link tree. I don't know what the link is.
I think it's posted on the description.
Do have a link tree at the Book Fix, where we have all of our social medias as well as our Fable and Goodreads book club. It's almost the end of January, so it is coming to a close, the book we chose for our book club this month. But please stay tuned because we will be announcing what our book club book is going to be for February soon.
Yeah, I don't even know. Well, actually, you might be able to vote. I don't know when I'm going to be posting a poll for Fable for February's book.
Okay.
Maybe this weekend. So I think this should be up
I'll
already.
do the same for Goodreads.
Yeah. And this month's was Quicksilver. Spoiler alert.
That's why I'm so excited for our next episode.
That's not our
much.
That's not our next one.
Oh, it isn't?
No.
Where are we?
But if you've read Quicksilver and you just want to throw in your thoughts, you can throw them in Fable and Goodreads.
I do recommend you follow both book clubs, though, because I think it's kind of interesting that I have no idea what's going on in Fable. So your whole heart is going into what you post. And same for Goodreads.
Yeah.
So if you follow both, you kind of get both sides of a coin before we even know what we say to each other.
Well, I felt like we started this kind of like in the middle of the month.
We did.
And then you already read Quicksilver, so it's kind of a different experience.
Yeah, it is. I still need to go by. I feel like by the time this episode is posted, everything I will want to have said about Quicksilver will be up. But next month, it'll be a little easier because we haven't read yet the book we're going to be talking about.
So that's why I feel like we might do it differently next month. Like if we want to cross posts or if not, I don't know. We'll decide later.
Yeah, we will. But okay, why don't we read a positive and a negative review about this book?
Okay.
What do you want to read?
I will read the negative, but I do want to bring up that Rachel Gillig's book, The Night and the Moth. I don't know if it's out yet, but I've been seeing it on like Barnes and Noble, and I think it's because, she's a known author now.
Okay.
So maybe
and want to read.
Possibly we should read it. Maybe, I don't know. This review comes from Morgan. They gave it 1 out of 5 stars and they wrote, "How does this book have over 4.5 stars? Ugh, I really did not like this book. The writing is seriously so bad. I counted at least 13 typos. Like, girl, fire editor and give spell check a try. I can't believe I saw multiple people on Book Talk saying this series is better written than Fourth Wing. Like, did we read the same books? Not to mention the entire plot is so predictable. It made finishing it beyond difficult. Not a single thing that happened in either of these books surprised me. I was hoping the writing in the second book would have improved, but somehow it got worse. Even the new addition of Elm's POV and love interest, the characters just dive right into the relationship without any build-up or romantic tension. So as a reader, it feels unbelievable and unrealistic. You're telling me they're in love, but you're definitely not showing me. Like, why do they like each other? How did we get here? I don't know. It's just bad."
This comes from Brooke, who gave it a 5 out of 5, and they wrote, "Wow, this sequel took all of the good from the first book and gave us so much more. I will thank the trees every day for blessing us with Elm. There was so much heart in these pages, and I'm sad to leave the world of blunder, but my God, was that ending perfect. I will read anything Rachel Gillig writes." Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
My thoughts. Head empty.
Okay, fine. Me too. Let's just sit here.
No, what was your question?
It's gone already. It's head empty. I don't remember.
I know what you were gonna ask.
Onyx Storm.
I knew you were gonna ask that. I knew. If we did an episode on Onyx Storm, we have to do an episode on the second one, Iron Flame.
You read it.
Oh, God.
You read it, but if we did, I will read it and you'll be passenger seat. I'll hold you. I'll be the lantern in the front.
That is so beautiful. Oh my God.
Thank you. Will I know what I'm saying? Maybe not, but it's okay.
I'll just nod and be like, yeah, that's exactly what happened.
The second one, I'll let you know.
You have it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I use it as a weight, a table weight.
It's big enough. Well, stay tuned for that.
Thank you.
Imagine people want us to do that as a book club book. Should we consider that?
The thing is, I don't dislike it. I don't like it. It's just there. Like, I feel like we read the first one and both of us liked the first book. Mm-hmm. But it's been so long that I don't really remember how I felt about it.
Yeah, I think we would have to re-listen to our episode.
Yeah, which everyone else can go listen to too. But we'll think about it.
We'll discuss. We'll discuss later.